would you say makes up a healthy relationship versus a toxic one? So how do you know when you're in a healthy relationship, and how do you know when you're in a toxic relationship?
I think it's about give and take. So give and you take the same amount on both sides. So one person is not taking more than the other person taking. And one person, so you give equally and you take equally from each other. So
But don't you feel like, in a sense, that's going to create a space whereby two people are in a relationship, right? Fine. But don't you feel like it's going to create a thing whereby you're going to try and keep tabs on your partner to say, like, you cannot mention it, but subconsciously you're going to be like, okay, I've been doing this, and this for my partner, right? And maybe they've done so much, but I don't feel like it's matching up to what I've done. So how do you know that you're giving and you're taking the same amount with your partner?
I don't think it's something that you measure. So in a relationship, you feel each other's energy, and if you feel you're draining the other person, it's your responsibility to look at yourself and think, I'm taking too much of this person's time, I'm taking too much of their energy. Let me actually divert this and make sure that that person is getting something from me as well. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but feel each other's energy and don't just make it about yourself.
Things it gets tricky because you might have a certain expectation, or me, I might have a certain expectation from you, and when you're giving a certain amount of energy, I might feel like it's not enough, but for you, you feel like you're putting in enough. You know, so there's always that disconnect.
Also, I was going to ask, how do you know, like, how do you take yourself out and observe yourself and say, okay, in this moment I'm not giving enough? And is it easy to do that? Because I think it's very easy to look at someone else and say, look, you're not giving me the time that I want, or you're not compromising enough. But do you yourself realize when you are being that person that's making the relationship toxic?
I think that's where communication comes in, because like you and your partner need to be able to communicate and say, you know, I don't feel like I'm getting enough from you, and do you feel like I'm not giving enough of myself to you as well? Like, so for example, so in my previous relationship, my ex he was writing tests on campus, and we hadn't seen each other in like over a week, maybe like 2 weeks, right? So I was like, you know what, I'll stay late on campus and wait till your test finishes. So I'll stay until 8 and I'll work on my work and I'll drive you home. And that time, just the time in the car, will be our time to spend together. And he was like, no, it's fine. Like, he'll get a lift home, it's fine, doesn't matter. He'll come have supper with me. So I was like, okay, cool. Comes 8:30, whatever. He's like, oh, sorry, like, I can't make it. Meantime, I'm dressed up. I've got my earrings on and everything to go to McDonald's, right? So I was like, you know, that's not cool. And then the first thing he says when he comes to see me is, why are you putting in so much effort if you know I don't want to see you?
What?
Yeah,
Wait, what?
so that's when you know, like, there's a problem there. Like, that person's not willing to even meet you. It's not even halfway. He wasn't willing to meet me at 20% while I was giving 80.
Okay.
So you gotta know, like, where that line is as well.
Don't you think it speaks into that aspect of 5 love languages or something? I've heard some, I don't know what they are. I don't know if there's anyone who knows.
I know.
Explain.
Love languages.
Yes,
Okay,
girl.
so basically the 5 languages of love is just like, because I mean, the way you expect love is not the way your partner might expect love. I mean, we all have different ways of receiving and giving love.
Yeah.
So basically the 5 languages, I guess it's someone who summarized what he thinks the 5 languages of love is and how he would like to accept or give love. And the 5, I think the first one is physical touch, then there's gifts, words of affirmation,
Time.
Yeah, quality time.
Quality
Yeah.
time. And then there's a last one that I forgot. I'll remember it. But basically, you need to ask your partner how they would like to be loved, and you need to tell your partner how you would like to be loved. I think that's how you can both be fulfilled.
But what I don't like about that is now, if I have a certain type of love language and you're a different one, you know, it requires me to kind of change the way I want to communicate or how I like to communicate. And I get that if you're in a relationship, you have to compromise. You're gonna have to make some changes.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like sometimes the way they expect it is just not the way you want to do it. It's just really against your core beliefs, and that gets like in the way sometimes.
And I think that if it's against your core beliefs,
Yeah.
then if you really mean it by core beliefs, then you should leave.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
It's
you're
not the
not
right-
willing to compromise your core beliefs. I mean, there's a lot of things we can compromise for, not those.
So would you say then that a healthy relationship needs both people to have the same type of love language in a way?
Nah,
So
doesn't
you
have to
need
be the
to-
same. You just need to communicate
You need to-
to each other
Yeah.
so that you can actively give what that person would like.
For example, like the way I would see it, maybe if your love language is spending quality time and your partner's love language is gifts, for example. So a way you could work around that is maybe you could take your partner on a spa treatment. So that's a gift. But then you're spending time with them in the spa, so you're getting the same spa treatment. So it's a gift for them, but then for you, you're spending quality time. So think of it like that, like
Yeah.
putting your merging your love languages and not necessarily saying, now we're gonna spend quality time, now I'm gonna give you gifts. So try and like balance it.
But doesn't it also, I think it brings the concept of we're willing to compromise, right? Like when you're in a relationship, this is a complete human being that you're with, and you're committing your time, your efforts, and all of that to that person, right? Where do you draw the line to say, okay, I'm going to compromise for this person? Our love languages are different, but I'm going to compromise for this person to do this, this, and this to make this work. But every person has a limit whereby you feel like I'm compromised, but this is now, it's taking too much away. Like that's where the initial chat to say, where do you feel like you're giving more than you're receiving? Because if you keep on compromising your love language for the next person, doesn't it feel like now you're giving more than?
And I think that's where it becomes toxic.
That's
Yeah.
Okay. Have you guys been in a toxic relationship? And how did you know that it was toxic? It wasn't good for you.
I definitely have.
It was on my part where,
You were toxic.
yeah. I think it took time to accept it and realize that it was me who, because most people who know me, communication is not my strong suit. I don't really like to let out feelings when I'm feeling them at that moment. I would rather keep them, and then maybe at a later stage when things is already too late, that's when I'm like, okay, let me tell you what was happening that time. But as soon as it's happening, I don't really like let it out to say, okay, guys, oh, why, hey, wife, yo, this is what's happening, yo. I'm not really feeling this and this. I keep it in and let it play out up until a point I'm like, I've had enough. And then maybe it's already too late because now I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm over it.
Because shitty people know when they're being shitty, guys. They're in denial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Some people don't.
Yeah.
And those are the people where you need to tell them. But some people, they know, guys.
Yeah.
Stop making yourself the crazy one. They're crazy.
They're the crazy
Yeah.
ones, not you.
But
Okay.
also, I think, I don't know if you guys are just limiting it to romantic relationships, but also your families can be quite
Yeah, I
toxic.
know, definitely. Yeah.
Those ones are too
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah, let's not go
For
there.
another day.
Another day.
And sadly, you can't choose your family.
Yeah, that's a
But some
different dynamic.
friendships as well can be
Friendships
toxic.
Your
There's-
toxic as well.
Yeah.
Especially if, for example, you have a friend that, so with the give and take thing,
Yeah.
you find yourself supporting this friend a lot. Like when they have, let's say, like they have a concert, and you just always going to their concerts and always supporting them, and they
Yeah.
invite you somewhere, like let's go out. You're always ready, always ready. And then the minute you want something, or you say, "Oh, I have this happening. Would you
Yeah.
like to come and check it out?" And they're like, "Actually, I have this and I have that," and it's like.
Yeah.
I'm always, going to your thing, so why can't you just take a little bit of time out of your day just to support me? So I
Yeah.
think friendships can be toxic in that way.
a really wise friend of mine told me that, really, really wise. She's like, 50% of the relationship is just showing up.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Just
that-
showing up,
yes.
that's 50% of the
I-
relationship done. If you just show up, like
1000%.
you're there
Yeah.
for the person
Yeah.
some way,
Yeah.
somewhere or another, for that or any other way. That's already 50%
Yeah.
done. You've passed. Then the rest, you just need to put in a bit more effort
Yeah.
to make it a bit higher. But just
Yeah.
showing up is
Yeah.
enough. Like, it's just enough to keep things.
Yeah.
I think the problem with me was that I didn't realize I was in a toxic relationship until like the end, because it was always about, you know, when things were happening and I'd be like, I didn't like that you said that to me, or you didn't, and then you'd be like, how can you not understand? I'm going through so much. How can you not see it from my point of view? And then I'd be like, oh, sorry. I didn't even, you know, like I don't want to make things worse for you, but going through a hard time doesn't mean you get to be an asshole to someone else. That it doesn't justify your behavior. So like after we broke up, I was talking to one of my friends, you know, like I was all upset, and I was like, you know, I'm a very like kind person. Like I don't like to put people through more stress than what they're going through, especially if they've been nice enough to open up to me about it. So I was like, how do I draw that line between being, you know, a good, you know, kind person and standing up for myself? And so my friend, he gave me one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten, and he's like, you draw the line where that person starts using the things that they're going through to hurt you, when that's their excuse to start hurting you. That's where you draw the line and say, listen, you're not good for me. You're using all your negativity to bring me down.
Okay, last bit. As a friend, right, how easy is it for you to tell your other friend that, look, the relationship that you're in right now is very toxic and you should leave?
Yeah. So I'm gonna say it's quite hard, because a lot of my friends, after I broke up with my ex, a lot of my friends came to me and they were like, listen, we noticed a lot of these things, but it wasn't our place to tell you, because you're gonna turn it on us and be like, why are you trying to interfere? So I honestly, personally, I don't know when it would be okay for me to tell someone, I don't think your partner is good for you.
I think that when you see that it's just going like south and you don't want your friend to hit the bottom, it's better to tell them early than later. And I mean, in the beginning, like when you tell your friend, she may react, like she or he may react like, what's the word, defensively or whatever. But trust that when they walk away from you, they're thinking about it, and maybe one day it will click. But the thing is, you also can't force it upon them.
Yeah.
They must make it click. So as long as you've told them, I say you've done your job. I mean, I think we spend a lot of time trying to convince people, but
Yeah.
they need to convince themselves. But I think you've done your part by just telling them.
And also in terms of how to approach it. So don't say, I don't think your partner is good for you.
Yeah.
Say, I've noticed some signs
Yeah.
that I don't really like, or I'm not sure about. Have you also noticed them? Things like that. So approach it differently, not in a confrontational way, but girl, are you okay? Like, I've noticed some things. Yeah.
Because I believe people have this thing whereby people preach this a lot, to say when you're in a relationship, keep it private, right?
Yeah.
Like don't
Yeah.
be out, like it's nice and all, whereby it also speaks on to one thing. I feel like social media and the society at large is playing a huge role to most failed relationships, because you get literally go on to Twitter or some, maybe Valentine's Day, right? You go on to Twitter, you get people who are posting their stuff to say, my boyfriend did this for me, this and that, this and that. If you are weak as a person and you don't have that self-esteem to say, okay, we're going through this stuff, maybe my partner can't afford to do the same things that I see on my timeline. You should be at peace to say it's fine, like it's whatever. But there's still a small percentage of people who would see that and say, okay, this boyfriend or this girlfriend did this for their partner, mine only did this. Do they really love me, or do they really care about me? They knew Valentine's was coming. How come they didn't save up for it? They didn't, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those whereby, so for me, I would say social media will play 40 to 50% of the failed relationships you get, because is going to influence people to act in a certain way that's not true to themselves. To say, oh, so and so did this when their boyfriend or girlfriend did this, so I should also be obliged to act the same way or react the same way.
And that pressure of being Facebook official.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys were dating for 3 years, why are you not Facebook official? Like, okay.
Yeah. Thank you guys very much for the chats. It was insightful.
That's it, guys. We don't need, that was so awkward. I know.
It's natural.
No, what the end is
What's
now.
that?
The end.
She was like,
She's like, this is.
You know when your parents are trying to take a picture and they're still doing the piece and you're just like,
no.
No.
Sorry, guys.
Going back to 19. Don't do that no more.
Where did I go?
I have a
Time
lot
to
more
ease
stories
into it.
to put out there.
Well,
I have a lot more
How
stories.
long
You
was
all want to
that?
know what toxic is.
actually, yeah.
How long was
I
it?
don't know. I wasn't timing it.
I think it was around 10 minutes because you started running off.
When is we gonna edit?
Oh, you
yeah.
want more?
So it's about like 17 minutes.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Hey, what more?
No. Girl has vague to do.
Yes, go.
Oh yeah, you got time.
I got good, healthy relationships at home right now.
Oh, okay. Alright. Let us not hold you back.
I can't stand niggas in denial.
Hey.
What's up?
Yeah, came out of nowhere.
Came out of nowhere.
Say it with your chest. What's up?
Say it, go. Yes.
Say
Wow.
it. Say it. It's a safe space. It's a
No,
blank
but like
space.
sometimes you've been in a relationship for so long, you just like you want to save it.